Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm here with Stephen Swifty Smith. Swifty, man, the reason I want to talk to you is because you have announced your retirement. But first and foremost, mate, how's life? How's the family?
Oh, good, mate. Yeah, same old, really.
Same old.
Yeah.
Life of a retired fighter. Yeah, the reason I wanted to get you on, mate, is you announced your retirement. So I just wanted to, obviously, because I can remember, what sticks out for me when you fought was, I don't know if it was the second John Simpson fight or the first one, but I can remember watching it and being like, that was one of the best fights I've seen back. I think it was 2012, 2013 or something. I can't quite remember how far ago was that.
First one was 2010, second 2011.
That was, see, 10 years ago, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. I can just remember that's when I took notice of you. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Looking back on your career at the John Simpson fights, even before that and stuff like that, man. I mean, how do you assess your career? You happy with how everything panned out?
Yeah, listen, obviously, I started boxing to be world champion. So the fact I never won a world title, I couldn't sit here and lie and say, it was always my ambition. So the fact I never done it will always be a disappointment for me. Do you know what I mean? But can I sit here with regrets? Not really. I gave it everything I had. Everyone who trained with me, everyone who knew me in and around boxing knows how much I give to sport. So, I'm proud of myself for the effort I give to boxing and for how much of my life I give to boxing, 100%. But I can't sit and lie and say, I'm happy. Obviously I wanted to be world champion. I didn't quite get there, but I can sit back and sleep at night knowing I gave everything I had.
I want to talk about you. You have fought for 2 world titles against Pedraza and was it Vargas?
Souza.
James Souza. Sorry, yeah. The Vargas one was the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like that's how I mean, man. There's so many fights that stick out for me. The Gary Buckland uppercut. Like even when I was doing my PTs, I was talking to somebody and they were talking about the Dillian White Povetkin knocked out, and they said that's the best uppercut I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, or you need to see Stephen Smith's uppercut against Gary Buckland. That was what I've ever seen. So there's so many fights for me that stand out, and I can remember you'll always have a little impact when I talk about Stephen Smith. Like I said to you, the John Simpson fights were 2 quality fights. So go back to that era of your career when you were just sort of like winning the British title down at super featherweight and stuff like that. How was that for you winning that British title for the first time?
For me, it was sort of starting out because I was a good amateur and stuff. The fights were like the sort of early fights, the journeyman fights. I wasn't really a big fan of. I felt like it was sort of, I wasn't really learning much. I was sort of like getting in, showcasing your talent, so to speak, but I didn't really feel like I was getting anything back. And that's no disrespect to any journeyman. I think they do an amazing job in the sport and I know what they're there for, but I didn't really feel like I got anything from it. Going in and beating a man who was like, say for example, my first fight, I went from Commonwealth Games gold medalist, fighting Olympic qualifiers, Europeans, Worlds, and then going and turning pro and fighting a fella who'd won 4 and lost 32. Sean Walton, love what they're for, but I was a bit like, I'm not going to learn too much, you know what I mean? But I learned more about the pro game, I suppose, your first few, and then I sort of want to move on quick. So the first I was on the phone all the time trying to get an opportunity, and I wanted a big fight, and then he said to me, well, do you want to go and fight John Simpson in Glasgow? So I thought, I hope this is a bit of a mouth-watering one for me. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to sit and say I want a big chance and then get one and turn it down. So I was like, let's do it, let's go. And I was always confident in my own ability. And I remember it being probably one of the most hostile places I've ever been in. The crowd, the Scots get behind their own anyway, you know what I mean? As you know, it's such a patriotic country. And I've been there sometimes watching Ricky Burns and in the road, and it's unbelievable. And obviously it's the first night Ricky Burns fought Martinez for the world title. Yeah. So the atmosphere was something else. And I remember doing my ring walk and just the noise they were making and that, and the stuff they were shouting to me. And I thought, right, let's go, you know what I mean? You're in for it, you're like get up for this. And it was just a buzz all night. It's a tough fight. First time I'd ever done being past 8, and doing the 12 rounds at a good pace in a hot environment. I learned so much, and I felt like it was the first time I had an injury in a fight as well, where I snapped a tendon in my hand in the fight, and it was just a lot of experience learned that night where I feel like I benefited so much from it, and in with such a good champion as well at the time in John Simpson, think he'd won his last 3 by stoppage against the likes of like Paul Truscott, Stephen Bell, you know, some good fighters and who I liked at the time, and he'd sort of come through them and stop them, and I thought, man, he can definitely fight, you know what I mean? And I learned a lot of nicks. Remember the first couple of rounds, I was thinking, this is easy, do you know what I mean? Like I was just out boxing, and I thought, I don't know what all the fuss was about, you know what I mean? And then he showed me then what he was about. He was a tough, strong man, and all of a sudden, the middle rounds, and he's hit me with punches, and I'm thinking, shit, I'm in a fight here, do you know what I mean? And sort of like, as I said, there was loads. It was like a lot of little fights in the one being my first 12 rounds, and how long it was, and the atmosphere. I learned so much that night, and you know, I owe a lot to John.
That's the thing. You mentioned that you don't want to continue fighting journeyman. I mean, like John Simpson was. Like I watched him against Paul Appleby, the first fight as well, and I was like, what a fighter he is! And for you to step up, and fight John in Glasgow, that you mentioned the crowd and stuff like that. You answered questions. You suffered your first injury. You went to 12 rounds with him. I think it was a split decision, the first one, and then obviously the second match with John, you won more convincingly on that one.
Yeah, I felt like going into it, I thought, nah, I know what, I've only had 10 fights. I took a chance there. Not many people would. Not many people have gone and fought a champion in his own backyard like that after 10 fights. So, you know, I answered a lot of questions about myself and my own sentiment, my own belief. And I went there and, you know, won the fight. It was a close fight, and you know, I knew myself with the injury I had. I thought, nah, I can do it better, and I will do. So the winner of that fight was then mandated to fight the British champion Martin Lindsay at the time. So obviously, with me having to have an operation after the fight, the board ordered that John can step in, fight Martin Lindsay, and the winner had to defend against me. So I was happy with that. I thought, you know, I don't want everyone sitting waiting on me type of thing. I thought I can go away, have my injury heal, and I'll fight the winner. I thought I'll go over and watch it as well. So I went over and watched it in December. And again, John went away from home and really performed. And he beat an unbeaten champion in Martin Lindsay. And I was impressed by him. I thought, nah, do you know what? He's a good fighter. And I already knew that. I'm doing the 12 rounds with him. But it also gave me a bit of confidence thinking, nah, I've just beat him with you know, with carrying an injury. And I beat him in his own backyard. I can do it better. I know I can. I can go and get a British title now. So the rematch was for the British and Commonwealth titles, and it was in Liverpool this time. And I was just confident thinking, nah, no, I know I can do it. Now, if I can do it sort of hindered by an injury, I can do it even better now. And I was in great shape. I was ready, do you know what I mean? And I got in, and it was my first fight with Joe the second time round. And I've been working on dipping and throwing the right hand over. And the first round, I landed the right hand high on his head, and his legs do a little bit of a jig, do you know what I mean? And I thought, oh my God, I've got him, and I threw everything at him. And, you know, when I watch it back, a shot's missing by this much and this much, and I think, oh, that was just landed, it would have been had an early night. And I threw everything at him. And, you know, being the man he is, he's just a tough, strong man. He wasn't going nowhere. He just knew to put his head down, dip inside, throw shots back, and he was battling back with me and stuff. And the bell went. I remember thinking, nah, he ticked the box with me right away. I just thought, got to remember him in which, you know what I mean? He's been here before and goes back. But, you know, great time, but never got him out. And then again, I remember him in round 8, and he lands a good shot, and he comes run at me and that. And I sit down at the end of the 8th round, and I was thinking, how am I in this fight? Like, what's he made of, this fella? Do you know what I mean? I've hit him with everything. Started really well, you know, no excuses, no injuries. My hands feel fine. I remember wearing the big BB gloves because I was a bit paranoid still. Yeah, I was thinking, only time in my career I ever wore them, because I thought, nah, if my hands go here, I can't do that again. You know what I mean? I've got to have to bite down again. So I'm not wearing them little gloves, mate. I'm gonna wear the big ones and give myself every chance. You know what I mean? Because it was the first fight after the operation. Didn't really know it was the small gloves. So I put the BBs on. I remember thinking after round 1, I wish I never had the one now, but I got them out. But nah, no, listen, I had no excuses. And I remember round 8 sitting down just thinking, oh my God, he's just landed the boss shot. He had a good round. I'm thinking, I'm in a fight here. Do you know what I mean? It's getting close again. Like, I had loads of respect for him, and I felt like I pulled away again towards the end, and I won the fight and won the British title for the first time. But, you know, my respects never changed for him.
I mean, the next fight after the Simpson, I mean, the 2 12-round fights against John Simpson was battles. I mean, when you're down a little bit, but then you took on Lee Selby, who was a lot of people's eyes back. Even back then, I think he was signed by Eddie Hearn. He got signed by Eddie Hearn and stuff like that. That was your first loss in your career, man.
Yeah.
when every fighter suffers their first loss, man, they take it differently and stuff. Like, how did you take that defeat? Did you mope for a few weeks? Did you get back on the saddle straight away?
Oh, it killed me at the time. Listen, at the time, killed me. I got out, and I remember going to the changing rooms, and like, my wife was there. She doesn't watch me fight, and like, she comes and she goes outside and stuff. And obviously, people have told her what happened. That she come in, she came in and see me, and I remember just like being strong for her. Like, nah, I'm okay. You know, health's more important. I'm fine. Don't worry. I'll be back. I'll still box again, and that. Don't worry. Don't worry. And I was just like, no, never, not. I wasn't like too upset. I was just like, nah, I'm all right. It's just boxing. I'll be back. And I goes home. I remember getting to my house, and it's something I'll never forget. You know, people say, you know you are when you lose. Watch, like, you have all hangers on when you win and know when you lose. And I always remember when I lost, I got back to my house, and as I pulls up outside the house, there was a load of me mates, like, all at my door, who come to see me and that. And I always remember, like, I want to name them all because I forget people. I remember like Selkirk being there, and Joe Selkirk, good mates as a kid, and some stalker, and they'd come back to my house to see me. And I remember thinking, like, at the time, I was thinking, oh, boys, I wish they'd fuck off. I just want to get in bed, and like, I'm devastated. But now looking back, it means so much to me that they were actually there for me. And I come in the house and just sat down, and I was like, yeah, back. I'm just like madness. So I couldn't really get over it. And then when they all went, obviously they've all gone. I've gone to bed. I always remember that the next morning, before I'd even opened my eyes, I knew I'd lost. And like, I sort of like woke up, looked at my hand, seen like a little bruise on my hand, knew I'd fought and knew I'd lost. Oh, and I cried my eyes out. Next morning was when it sort of hit me, nah, you've lost. I think I felt like I held everything in, more so for Jade than anything else. And the next morning, like, realization, it's on that I'd actually lost first time, and I cried my eyes out. The next day was the lowest point of my whole career. And then after that, it's sort of, you just live and learn, you move on. It's just boxing at the end of the day.
That's the thing. What did, like, I want to talk about, obviously everyone knows the famous Smith brothers from Liverpool, the Fighting Brothers. There's 4 of yours. I mean, I've had the pleasure to be at a fight weekend when one of you has been fighting on numerous occasions and stuff like that. So the bond is always there. What kind of advice did your big brother Paul and Callum and Liam give you after that loss?
Yeah, listen, just similar to what anyone says to you. Just, listen, you'll be back. Dust yourself off. Don't be worried. Don't let it get to you too much. But with being in and around the sport so much, we also know that you've got to soak up that feeling. You've got to know how bad it is, because I always believe if you know how much it kills you losing, you'll try even harder for it not to happen in the future. They knew I weren't done. They knew I was going to be back. So they wanted to let me sort of, take in that feeling, know how bad it is, and know how much I don't want it to happen again. And it was the right thing. It's sort of what I say to other people, after your first loss, listen, that realization the next morning, let it hit home. Like, realize how bad you feel and just try even harder for it never to happen again. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's a good lesson in your life. Your first loss was always the hardest, but I do feel like it was something that sort of, not at the right time, wouldn't it? But something that sort of etched me in my life. It sort of, I feel like it changed me even as a person. I just felt like it humbles you, where you've got to know that, like, everything in life sort of does happen for a reason, but it's like, it's just one of them things, you know what, there's more to life, and you've got to think of your health and other things and sort of try and get past it. But when you give so much to boxing, it always hurts.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I remember watching that fight as well. But then, like I said to you, like, at the start of this interview, I said that when people were talking about the Povetkin knockout uppercut of Dillian White, they were saying it's the best uppercut they've ever seen, and I was like, hold the brakes, man. You need to go back a few years. His knockout of Gary Buckland, man. It was one of them ones that, like, you didn't look like you threw it with anger. It was just the position, the timing, everything was just perfect.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you a little bit back in Texas when Callum fought Canelo. We spoke a little bit about it, and I said to you, like, how much of that did you practice? Was that a shot that you were practicing beforehand, or was that just came natural in the fight when you threw it?
We practiced it where I go as far as saying I had Anthony Crawler in the change rooms while I was warming up, and anyone who there will tell you the same thing. And he had gloves on, and he was jabbing at me and holding my glove there, and I was just slip uppercut, and then he was double jabbing. I'd step back, slip uppercut, and we were practicing because Gary Buckland was in great form at the time, and we knew he was at home. He was going to come for me. There's only one way he was going to fight me. He was never going to come out and try and outbox me. he was going to come for me. Joe noticed straight away. He jumps in 2-footed with his jab, and he said, "Listen, if you can slip that jab and nail him with his uppercut, he's going to double the impact of it because of the way he jumps in 2-footed." He said, "If you can just get off the line with the jab and bring the uppercut up, it's the perfect shot." So we're working on it in sparring and stuff, and then as I said, every time on the pads, and as I say, warming up with Crawler, and you work on punches every fight and stuff, and it never comes off as sweet as that. And I think I knew that night I probably never should throw a shot like that again in my career. I was a bit gutted it was that night instead of like a world title, but it's just one of them. You take them when you get them because it was so special for me that night.
It was, like I said to you, it was a sweet shot, but like,
yeah,
is it as if you knew when it landed, you went like that, and it's like,
yeah,
you knew that was it. You didn't even wait.
I knew. I felt it like sort of like, you know, when a punch goes sort of right through him, and I thought, wow, like he's gone. And I thought if he does get up, I'll finish him. I knew how badly he was hurt, and I felt the weight of him sort of fall through me. I sort of jumped out of his way, and he sort of fell face first. If you have a look and watch it back, I walk and I don't look back until I sort of get the corner, and I just sort of have a check. And then I jump up on the ropes. I thought it's over, it's done, and knew. And it was like, it was big. We can more so like emotions come out then at the time, because I just felt like it was a big thing. Obviously after the Selby loss, I went and fought Ben Jones down in London and won the rounds, had a little tick over, and then I hadn't fought for like 12 months. And then he got me like a little 6-rounder, which I won in the round. And at the weigh-in, he came over to me and said, "Do you want to fight Gary Buckland?" So I went, "Go out, when?" And he went, like British title, Gary Buckland. He said, "Next month." So I thought, well, obviously I'm fit and weighing in for the fight, like 6-rounder, but I'm fit enough. He said, "Go out, what date?" And he went, 17th of August. And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "Do you not want to speak to Joe, your brothers?" I went, "Nah, no, yeah, definitely." It was my son's first birthday, so I just had weird with numbers. I thought I won't lose on that day. I just sort of, I've got a mad thing with numbers, and I thought there's not a chance I'll ever lose on my son's first birthday. No way, I still want to fight, definitely. So I went away, and I remember telling Joe was like, "You mad you took that fight in 4 weeks' notice?" And I was like, "Joe, I'm okay. I know I'm okay." And as I say, it worked for me the way my weird mind works. I just thought like it was one of them things. It was a sign for me. I wouldn't lose on his birthday, and you know, it ended up being a special night for me. To say, because I brought him down with him being his first birthday. I brought him down to him, getting out the ring, done my drug test and that, and then went over the hotel. And as I walked in, Jade had brought him down from the room. He had his little first birthday badge on, and everyone in the reception all sung happy birthday to him. It was probably one of the best moments in my career. I like little special things what mean something to me.
See, that's cool. That's the small things that I get to see sometimes when I go back to the fight.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see the aftermath of the fight. They see you in the ring, you leave the ring. They don't see what happens after the changing room. Even the losses and stuff, when you lose, they don't see what happens at the changing room with like fighters that lost and stuff like that. But like I said, that was one of the uppercuts, one of the best shots, because I can remember being there and watching it and being like, "What the?" Like that was it. It was like I'd never seen the shot. It was just one of them when you went through and it was like so quick. It happened so quick. I was like, "What the heck just happened?" Do you know what I mean? It was just a sweet.
I don't need the commentators. Because the commentator at the time just happened quick.
Yeah, it was just a sweet shot, man. It was one of the best shots I've ever seen. I always say that. I always say when they were talking about the White Povetkin first fight, I was like, "Nah, go and watch Smith."
Yeah.
Gary Buckland, man. That's one of the sweetest uppercuts I've seen.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, but then obviously you had a few fights after that. You won a couple of the minor fringe world title stuff like that, but then it came the big one against Pedraza, the world title in 2016. Jose Pedraza was unbeaten. I mean, it was probably a tough ask for you, man, but you shown that you were at that level. You proved that you might not have got the decision, but you shown at that fight that you were at that level.
Yeah, it was one of them. That fight, I think. Obviously, you know, it was a Mansi fight. I fought my way up. I won a final eliminator against Devis Bashiro, and I felt like I boxed great. One of the performances in my career, the Bashiro fight. I really felt good. Felt like everything went well for me, and you
knocked him down a few times and stuff like
that. Yeah, I dropped him about 3 times. I think I stopped him in the 6th. I think it was, but I felt like everything went right for me that night. And I just felt like I was in good form. Everything was ticked for me, and I thought, no, it's a perfect time to go into this world title fight. And it was Pedraza, the champion, and I felt like with Pedraza, it was a tough fight to prepare for because he's tall. He switches so also southpaw. So I was getting like southpaw sparring, the tall southpaws, orthodoxes in just to cover all bases. And I've done a lot more sparring for that fight than I did for others because of trying to cover all bases and stuff and trying to work on a game plan because he's a really good fighter. He's very skillful and can do a lot when, especially when you're in there with him. Mm-hmm. But I always tell people he's the first time ever I've ever been in the ring. And I remember when you have a little conversation with yourself, and I looked at him and I remember saying, "Wow, you're better than the videos." Like I felt like little things he was doing. He was just dead cute. He knew little things. Like there's always a moment I had him in 2 or 3 or something like that, and I backed him to the ropes. And I'm thinking of what shot him, and I'm looking for gaps, I'm looking for openings and throwing little feints. And next when he went step, roll, and next like he's behind me, he's in the middle of the ring, and I'm on the ropes, and I'm thinking, yeah, even threw a shot then, do you know what I mean? Just little movements he done.
Mental, man.
It was just so good, just really clever fighter. He just done little things, and I say he never like backed me up with 2 jabs, threw a big right hand, and stepped round me. He just went feint, step, and next minute I'm on the ropes, and I was just like, how the fuck's he just done that? Do you know what I mean? Just little things he done. Yeah. I thought, nah, you're better than I thought he is. Do you know what I mean? I knew I had a big ask early in the fight, but again, plugged away, kept trying, give everything I had, give a good counter to myself. But when the final bell went, I didn't think I won. Do you know what I mean? I thought the right man won. The scores were a bit wide, but I can't really argue over scores when the right man won anyway. So it's just neither here nor there to me.
Do you take anything from the fact that the only times that Vargas lost was Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis, and these sort of guys? I mean, it takes a special fighter to beat this man. So
yeah, of course.
Was this loss easier to take than the Selby one in terms of like you showing that you were at that world level?
Yeah, of course. And listen, it hurts losing for a world title. Of course it does. But again, knowing that I went in and I sort of gave a good account to myself and the better man won on the night, then yeah, sort of the Selby one hit me a lot for different reasons. Just, I always tell people when like it sounds sour grapes and listen, Lee's a great fighter. He's gone on to be world champion himself. I've lost to four fighters, all world champions, so I've got no shame and there's no excuses. Sitting here with me where I think like I could moan over anything. Yeah. They all beat me and they all beat me on the night, and 4 good fighters. So there's no sort of shame in it. But little things were happening like where, as you say, behind the scenes, what no one knows about. But preparing for the Selby fight, I was fighting July the 9th. A defending a combat title against an African, and the bill ended up getting cancelled. Frank Warren cancelled the bill and put everyone from the 9th on the 16th. Remember, like the Murray Mitchell and stuff like that. So they ended up all going on the one bill. But I was best man that night to our Paul's wedding, July the 16th. So obviously I couldn't fight on it. So they just said to me, look, you'll fight in September. You'll be on the first bill in September. So it was 5 weeks later. So there wasn't enough time to stop and start again. So from the bill getting cancelled on the Monday morning, I'd sort of done a full camp for that. I was away in Germany training stuff with Macklin Ford Sturm, and me and Crawler were sparring over there, and I was getting ready in camp for my fight. And then sort of wasn't enough time to stop and start again. So by the time the September fight come round, I felt like I'd been training for like 17 weeks or something. I had a little bit of downtime for a week, but it just wasn't enough. And I just felt like in the fight, when I got in there, I was just burnt out. I knew it round 1 or 2. I think I remember looking up, see what round was round 3, and I was thinking, why am I this tired? No, like something's not right. And then you start panicking then, do you know what I mean? And especially being such a novice, only had 12 fights, I think I didn't have the experience to sort of go with it then, and I lost. But again, back to Pedraza, it was never no sort of excuses, little niggles and injuries I had before. I never mentioned after the fight, because once you get in the ring, I had adrenaline. I didn't feel anything anyway, so I couldn't sort of use anything as an excuse. I went in, I gave everything I had. I tried to sort of implement my own game plan, but he was just a better man on the day. He was really good. He was better than I give him credit for beforehand, and he won. Took a lot from the fight. I learned a lot from the fight, but I can't sit back and think judges robbed me or anything like that, because they didn't.
I mean, that same year you got Jason Souza, another crack at the world title. And like you were down in both world title fights, but the fights were closer on the scorecards. Do you ever kick yourself and think, if I just stayed at my feet and never got hit with that shot, it would have been give myself a better shot? I
felt like I was right back. Like I had a bad start with Pedraza, and then I won a few rounds on the run. I felt like I was right back in the fight, and then he sort of he like steps back and throws like a sort of like a southpaw right hook type of thing. It comes right over my shoulder, and I sort of stumbles forward. And I went to grab him to sort of keep me balance, and my right hand touches down. And I remember going to the referee, knock down, knock down, knock down. And the referee started counting, and I remember thinking, oh, like, just a stumble more than anything else. It wasn't really like, he was better shot in the fight, and I took better shots. It sort of like clipped me, and I fell forward, and I did touch down my hand. So I had to claim this to knock down myself, so I understood that he did, but it was just like, pissed me off a little bit. But again, the Souza one, watch the fight back, he doesn't even throw a punch. He stands on my foot and bundles me over. So I go to stand up, and the referee's counting me. I was like, what are you doing? I didn't land a shot to knock me down. So that sort of like, again, just sort of threw me off a little bit. But it's just one of them things, just a little bit to look what you need in sport here and there. You know, if it goes for you, it goes for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I felt like my head sort of went a little bit panicking, thinking, oh my God, I've got a 10-8 round against me when I never got it, you know what I mean? And in round 3, whether it has anything to do or not, he lands a left hook and splits my eye. So sort of, it was just game plan out the window from then on. I just sort of bit down and thought, you know what, if he's going to beat me, he's going to have to beat me. And I went for it then. And I felt like it was a really good fight to watch. I made it a good fight. But again, when the final bell went, I felt like the right man won.
Like I said, you were showing that you're world level and stuff. Like I always like, because I know how what a nice guy you are. And if it was anyone I wanted to see win a world title, it'd probably be you as well. And I can name another couple of fighters as well, but it's like outside the ring, I know the type of guy you are, man. You're a fucking lunatic, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're so good as well, man. But like I said, but then again, you got a crack at Vargas as well, and that's when that horrific ear injury happened. I mean, a lot of people that just squeamish, man, don't go and watch that fight and look at that injury, man. But I mean, talk to me about that.
Do you know what? As I say, from the Souza fight was November 16. Sort of had a bit of time out. A couple of little takeovers in the summer, trying to get an opportunity, and nothing was seen to be happening. And then comes back end of the year, and he gets a phone call. Listen, Vegas, December. So I'm like, definitely. A few things been through about both Francisco Vargas. I'm like, yeah, definitely. Like I love watching his fights. You know, his Murata fight as well. Like, loved them. Like, really good, proper tough Mexican fighter. I thought they're the type of people you want to put yourself up against. You know what I mean? The top Mexicans, and you know, see where you're at and be involved in them fights. So I was like, definitely get me on it. And sort of comes about, went away, started training. I remember beforehand when I had like a little bit of a little bit of downtime, and I'm thinking like I'm gonna have to work hard to get myself in shape again. And goes through, put myself through everything. Give everything I've got in my training camp, and ends up in really good shape. And remember like being in my room like the night before the weigh-in or the morning of the weigh-in, and like, you know, just checking my weight and seeing myself in the mirror and thinking, nah, no, what I've done well here, I'm in good shape, I'm ready, do you know what I mean? And I knew myself, I give up my head, and gets in the fight. I didn't feel like I got going. I didn't really catch a light. A bit of a clash of styles type of thing. I was trying to offset him, and nothing really happened too much. It wasn't much sort of going. And then in round 2, sort of like a bad clash of heads, like butted me in the ear. Accidentally just comes in, he just bang right in my ear. I remember like right away in the big ringing sound, like ding. I'm thinking, I don't know what he's done here. Gets back the corner. Remember Joe shouting at Paul, put the ice. And Paul's like pressing an ice pack on the side of my ear. So I was thinking, this must be bad. So from then on, again, not that like affected me, but every round coming back, Paul's putting the ice pack on my ear. So I'm a bit conscious, thinking it must be swelling, do you know what I mean? But obviously you can't see. I don't know what it's like. Don't know how it's looking. And then I remember in round 9, similar thing, like bang, bang, my ear again. I thought, oh, not again. And then I just remember like sort of spinning off him, and the referee going time, thinking, oh, fuck, what's up here? They're going to go to the doctor or something here. And I just looks down when the referee ever calls time. I always have a little look on my corner. And as I looks down at Joe's like 2 hands on his head like this, and I thought, this must be bad, this, you know what I mean?
Oh, you're torn your ear nearly off.
Nah, I didn't know straight away, no. And I looked up at the screen, I heard the crowd, and you know what I mean? I knew something was bad. I thought it might be bleeding here or something. And I looked at the screen, and I could just see it like dangling down. I thought, oh.
Wow.
And as I walked, then I could feel it then flopping, because I'd seen it. Well, like a kid when you see blood and you shit yourself type of thing. Once I'd seen it was ripped, I could feel it bouncing away. Then I was like, oh no.
Man.
Just like, then we're getting back the corner. And I went like the way the Americans are like, they're over the top and that. This like, the fella in the corner stands on the corner and was going, hold still, man. Your ear's going to fall off. Like, oh, just, I know I've lost the fight now. And I'm like, and I goes like, looks at him, I goes like, what are you doing? And he was like pulling tape out. I'm going to tape your ear. I was like, you know, tape me ear. He was like, what? It's going to fall off. I was like, son, I got out the ring. We just got out then and walked down the tunnel way back to the changing rooms. I remember just getting the bottom, getting straight in an ambulance and sort of right to hospital. Do you know what I mean? I still had my kit on and everything.
After that fight, I mean, you had 3 fights after that. That was just 6 rounders and stuff like that. So after the Vargas fight, was it hard for you to get another fight or to get up for a fight? What was it? What was the story back then?
No, obviously I had time where I had to let me heal. I was probably a bit paranoid and weird. Like I remember I said early days, the Simpson fight, it was always sort of, you'd have that little weirdness, like, I wonder how the op's gone. You don't know until you sort of get the little gloves on how bad it is. But with me, always subconsciously in my mind, I'm thinking, every time you spar, you're having a guard on, you know what I mean? This is going to be the first time I've actually been hit on my ear is when I get in the ring and fight. Like, imagine I get it, it just rips, you know what I mean? I was like, little bits like that in your head.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd always have little doubts and stuff. And I'm thinking, imagine I get it in my ear, it just rips again. Like, that's my career done. You know what I mean? And I was like, wow. And then so I got in, I had a little few. And after the first round, I wanted to box again. It was gone. I forgot about it. Never thought about it again. I thought, what's the odds of that? And I've never seen it in boxing before. It's probably never going to happen again. But you do sort of doubt yourself. And then once I'd got in, I got the first round done. I never thought about it again. But it was sort of like after the layoff, letting me heal, get a few fights. I just want a couple of little fights, get the ring rust off, and then I wanted to go again. I've one more push for it and see what's left, see what's there. And I had a couple of tick overs, and then sort of when I was sort of named about in fights of getting a couple of names mentioned, COVID sort of started, and then it was like, oh, what now? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it sort of robbed me of the end of my career, do you know what I mean? My last hurrah type of thing. But I would rather it happen now than the start of my career. You know, I feel more for these young pros now who are like trying to showcase the talent and trying to learn and trying to get on with the careers, who are sort of stagnating at the minute. I feel so sorry for them more so than myself. Look, I lost out on a one last chance, but I can live with that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with it.
I'm glad you mentioned that one last chance, but I remember again going back to text Callum Canelo. We mentioned the Anfield fight and stuff like that, and even Paul said he would come back in that. Would there be that? I mean, I know you retired, and you mentioned you retired. What I think it was a month and a half ago, whatever it was. You put that post out on Twitter and stuff like that. But is that? Would you ever lace up the gloves again? Even like an opportunity for Anfield or anything like Anfield? Would you ever do it again?
Yeah. Listen, I'm still like, I feel like now since I've announced my retirement, it's sort of sit on a bit more now. Like, as I say, I had a year or two with this COVID thinking, and I always sort of thought when COVID started, I remember thinking, I said, I was lying in bed with Jane, I said, I think I'm retired. And she was like, what? I was like, I can't see me boxing again. When this COVID started, I was 34, do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, it's not the right time of your life to be having like years out for like pandemics, and no one knew how long it was going to be, do you know what I mean? No one knew how bad and how serious it was going to be at the start. Just knew we were all locked down and stuff, and I thought, wow, boxing's not happening. There's no career for me, do you know what I mean? I thought I might be done. So it probably helped me come to terms with it in my head more than when I announced it. So sort of like maybe made it a little bit easier for me, but I don't know. It's obviously it's always hard when you come to the end of your career, and it was hard for me, but I think it's sort of just the wrong time for me. With wrong time in my life to be having time out. Again, these younger people now will be okay having the gap and still be training and still taking over, but it was just sort of the wrong time in my life for me, and I knew it was the end.
Was it difficult? I know you said you woke up one morning with your wife and you just said I'm retired, but like how hard was it for you to admit that?
It was like sort of I knew, I say when you texted with yourself, I said, nah, I think I'm done, mate. No, if I got good opportunity, obviously to take it, but I think I'm done. and back to the question we just asked, like I'd still come back now for an Anfield fight. I think I'd come back at any time. You'd probably get me dad on that one. Do you know what I mean? Anyone want to fight?
Anyone wants to fight your dad? Your dad's
yeah. If you announce the Anfield build, you know, the original question, and yeah, I'd come back. I think Paul would come back. I think my dad would get on it. We'd all, that's just the dream of the families to get the Anfield built. But we need the world back to normal for it to even be talked about. But yeah, no, it's a tough decision. I knew in my own mind, I spoke to you in text, I said I was done. But when it come to, it was actually the anniversary of my debut. And I just went on, and when you go on your phone and the memories pop up. And memory of my debut. And it goes on. I was to put a post on as it goes on. I had a couple of inbox messages just saying, any news on yourself, mate? Are you retired now, or any thoughts of what you're going to do? And just people asking. And like, these are people who've paid their own money to come watch me boxing. And I thought, nah, do you know what? I owed them it just to sort of say what I'm doing. I think I know I'm done anyway, so I may as well just announce it. So I actually, like, I put a post on, I wrote like 12 years ago today, my debut, or 13 years ago. And I deleted and I put, you know what? Officially retired. I put 13 years ago today, blah, blah. And I started just writing. 13 years ago today, I'm my pro debut. Good a time as any to announce I'm now officially retired. And it gave me an opportunity to thank people, which meant a lot to me. Yeah. You know, being able to thank people was nice. So I got me chance to say that, to thank you to all the coaches, you know, people who've coached me right from the Rotunda days, when I boxed for England, schoolboy level, right through to seniors. George and Danny Vaughan, who turned pro, and then Joe Gallagher. I got to thank everyone. But what I didn't realise was when I was writing it, it was like emotional. I was like, got my lip going. I was like, wow, was he sitting in the car? Do you know what I mean? It was nothing like planned. Started doing it, and I felt myself like, wow. So the minute I'd done it, pressed send, I put my phone in my pocket and was like, fucking hell, didn't expect that. So I just like carried on, just drove my car, got off, went about midday, and then later on, I got in by like 8 o'clock or something like that. And as I opened the door and come in, Jay just sort of like went like that, like to give me a hug. I was like, what's happening here? So I give her a little hug and that. She was like, see her eyes watering. And I was like, all right. So I opened my phone. I must have had a few messages. So I opened my phone. And as soon as I opened my phone, I seen a post of our Liam saying like, just want to congratulate my brother, great career and that. And I felt like, wow, I feel like I choked a bit reading it. And then like, I put like a love heart, like just a comment, like, oh, like thanks, give me love heart. And then I opened my own post. And at the time, like 8 o'clock at night, I had like something like, I think it was like 294 comments. And I just seen the top 2 or 3 and read them. And I was like, again, like, I know. And I went, James, going to shoot. She was making the tea. And I was like, she's going to shoot upstairs and read these messages. She was like, yeah, go on. And we're lying on my bed and reading them. And proper, like, had my eyes watering, like, seeing, like, people I've got a lot of respect for, sending me such lovely messages. And everyone, to be honest with you, all of them all meant something to me. But just hearing that many people have good things to say about me and respect for me, myself, my career, and just knowing the effort I've given it, I thought, no, it proper meant so much to me. And it made me emotional, mate. Like I'm not one of them criers over it, do you know what I mean? But I was like out reading it, like when I went to bed that night, know what I felt like? I slept easy, thinking, nah, I know what, I've done it now. I owed that to people, and I owed it to myself as well to sort of announce it, done it. And then next day, my phone was being like, I was getting loads of messages off people and texts and that. And the next day, I think our Callum put a nice post up for me as well. So it was just like, it felt like it went on for a few days. Do you know what I mean? I was like, no, didn't expect this. So like, but again, looking back, it meant so much to me, and it was a good. I'm happy I've done it. Do you know what I mean? I was never going to announce nothing, but I'm happy I did.
I'm like I said to you, man. Like I'm glad that you got all that sort of well wishes and stuff like that, because, like I said to you, man, you're one of the good guys. You're an absolute gentleman. Like every time I'm never going to forget that Texas trip for the rest of my life. People, there was a little argument who the life and soul of the party was. A lot of people picked you maybe 70-30 towards you compared to me.
Nah, I think you, mate. You got my vote.
Well, you got my vote, mate. But
if I could dance, I'd take the vote, but mate, you're dancing with
it. If you could dance, I could drink like you, then I'd be.
No, what though, right? It shows for me that, listen, that's it. My brother lost, and no, I'm not one of them. I don't really like losing, and I don't like when my family losing. It hurts. A good winner, yeah, you know what I mean. A good winner, hates losing, and And that trip's one of the best trips of my life. The whole experience, and you know, the whole bubble thing was different. I remember going there thinking, I don't know what's going to happen here, you know, this first time I've been in a bubble, and gets there, I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a week in a hotel, not allowed to leave the hotel, no one allowed out or in. It was the most boring trip of my life. I was dreading it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing Callum up against Canelo. But other than that, half dreading the trip and bringing all, like, I brought like a PlayStation with me, I brought all kinds with me for, like, you know, in my room and stuff, thinking I'm first thing we get there, 24 hours in my room on my own, and then I'm stuck in a hotel. And it couldn't have been further from, like, what I imagined, like, the best trip of my life. I had such a laugh, but such a great bunch of people that were there, do you know what I mean? I had a brilliant week, loved it.
Yeah, so
So
damn, I absolutely loved it. And like I said, in the hotel, we did have the bar open and stuff like that. And
yeah,
it was just like, because it was just our bubble, it was like the hotel was ours. Do you know what I mean? It's like we had this big playground that we had all for ourselves, which was brilliant. And like I say, it was one of them trips because it was just coming out of COVID as well. So nobody could be in a pub for like 9 months back in the UK. So
yeah.
Get out. So it was.
It was like we were all just let off the leach, wasn't it? And everyone was allowed to go to the bar and drink and that.
The bar's open. What was the bar? Give me it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned Callum and Liam as well, because the four brothers, that's 2 retired now. There's only 2 left in terms of still fighting, Liam and Callum. Now, they're far from. I spoke to Liam a couple of weeks ago at the MTK show. He seems hungry to become a world champion again. I know Callum's hungry again. Can your 2 brothers become world champions again?
Yeah, of course. I think so highly of the 2 of them. You know, they're so talented, and they've got more than enough, you know, chances of becoming a world champion again. In my opinion, you know, we know what Callum's come back and said now he's going to go to light heavyweight. It wasn't ever a lie what we used to say about how well he done super middle, but I just think the opportunity sort of dried up at that weight now. With losing to Canelo's going to go for all 4 belts, and you know he's not going to stop until he's got the 4 of them. So sort of opportunity wise, it's a good chance for Callum to go and be 2-weight world champion now, which is a massive thing. I think no one's ever done it from our city, and it's a big thing for us up here. So for him to go and do that would be unbelievable for himself, for the family, and for the city of Liverpool. But Liam, you know, again, not going on and moving on for opportunities. He's gonna stay at that weight, you know, where he is. He just wants the chance. But you know, as you've seen lately with him, the amount of names that he's getting linked with now, the opportunities are coming thick and fast for him, and it's one of them where he's only 1 fight away from a big one. You know, Charlo's got all the belts, and he's going for the unification fight. But from that then onwards, I don't know whether he might. If you win all 4 belts, I think from then onwards, I think you sort of look for other opportunities. So he might move up in weight. He might. I don't know what he's going to do, but there's a chance that the belts will all become vacant, and you know, there's a chance that they'll all become vacant, and it's going to open up so many doors. And you know, Liam's one of the best in the world at the weight, and I say he's only that 1 big fight away from proving it. Definitely.
Well, listen, I've absolutely enjoyed going down memory lane with you, and the fact that you remember dates, that your fights, it doesn't mean you're punch drunk. It doesn't mean
not just you, mate. I think I might have got out the right time.
Yeah, you got out at the right time.
No, I felt like all through my career, I sparred a lot, and I always enjoyed it. But I think once you get towards the end of your career, I think you've got to know when it's right to get out. And I think I've hit the nail on the head at the right time.
I think you've done it at the right time, mate. And like I said, I know a lot of people are telling me how you're the worst at making weight. So that's more making weight for you.
No, do you know what it was? It was always the worst part of my career, and it is for everyone. Every boxer who's been through it and done it will tell you the mental battles what you have, and the voices in your head about like food and not being able to drink and drying out stuff. It's horrible. It's torture for anyone. But I was just sort of, people who meet me will sort of say I'm a nice lad, I'm well mannered, I'm friendly and stuff like that. But then you'll see me like dry near me waiting at the morning of a weigh-in or the night before when I'm sweating weight out and I've got sweat gear on and stuff like that. And mate, you'll just get blanked. Like you come over to me and how are you, Stuart? And I'll just go, to me a favour, mate, I'm with the energy, don't talk to me. And you'll be like, with him, like people don't realise what it comes with to making weight. And I've seen fellas and like just sort of being so like just blank them, and he must have looked at me and thinking, cheeky, like,
What a bastard.
fuming with me. But it's just, anyone who knows me knows I'm like, I just haven't have the energy. I'm just like, nah, just don't speak to me. And it's horrible when I look back, I think, oh, I'm so embarrassed. And I see people like later on, I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I apologize and that, because I'm like, everyone, as you know, everyone will tell you how bad I am when I'm making weight. I've just got no time for no one. I'm just like, oh, let me get on me making weight. And then once I've made weight, we'll speak. Do you know what I mean? But like, just leave me to it. I've got tunnel vision on them scales, and then that's that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's another plus you can take away from retirement, mate. But Stephen, what an absolute pleasure to talk to you, my man. Hopefully, I'll see you at a fight week soon, either be Callum's or Liam's, and we can get another pint, man. Because, like I say, man, you want
fingers crossed, mate.
Cross me. Listen, if I come down to Liverpool, man, I've got your number, man. I'll give you a text and we can go out for a pint.
Definitely, mate. It'd be great to catch up.
Definitely.
Good to see you again, mate. Definitely.
Absolutely enjoyed this, Stephen, man. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon, brother.
Will do, mate. Thank you. And you take care too, mate. All the best. Thanks for everything.